Okay, perfect.
Fancy techie and stuff. Oh, it got quiet.
Wait for Kevin.
My country is free and of liberty, of thee I sing. My father's side, and of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let every round ring.
And the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And Dan Clement will do our invocation.
I was told I should eat the mic, so I hope we can all hear. Let us pause in our busy lives to give thanks. Yesterday was Flag Day. We salute our flag and we give thanks for the freedoms for which it stands as we honor our country. Today we are grateful for Rotary's focus on water, sanitation, and hygiene, and the important role that Rotary plays around the world in addressing this critical issue. Today, we are mindful that in our many parts of the world, people suffer due to a lack of adequate local clean water supply, which results in poor sanitation, hygiene, and disease. Today, we reflect on Rotary's long-term commitment to help local communities have a clean water supply and address sanitation and hygiene concerns. We are especially grateful for the partnership that Rotary in Brainerd and our District 5580 has formed in Haiti over many years to provide fresh well water and a safe drinking water supply for many communities. We realize there are so many benefits for every community member when people have a safe, adequate water supply, whereby they are empowered to address other concerns in sanitation, health, education, food supply, and much more. When we stop to consider how we are surrounded by fresh water lakes and the convenience of clean water and good sanitation wherever we go, today we want to be especially knowing that we are blessed. We are grateful that through Rotary, we have opportunity to make a positive difference in our community, through our club, our vocations, and in the world to bring the quality of life for everyone. For our many blessings today, we are thankful. Amen.
Thank you, Dan. And welcome to Rotary. I'm Jennifer Bergman. I am the president of Rotary for 3 more weeks. but who's counting? All right, introduction of guests. I see we do have our past district governor, Rick Bricker, is here. Our assistant district governor, Don Peterson. I do not see Gloria Mink, Jill Carlson, or Don Ryan, but all three serve at the district level. And other guests, I understand. Buford, you have a guest. For those of you who didn't hear, that's Amy Gray with Kinship Partners. Other guests. For those who didn't hear, it's Benita Martin and her husband Jim from the Maple Grove Rotary. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. Are there any other guests? All right, Rotary related announcements. I know we have a few Rotary related announcements. Today is also a club meeting day, so I'm going to ask our board members, for those that we're going to do updates from our board meeting today, if you could just wait, and we'll do that kind of all as one. But are there Rotary related announcements? Mark, I see you coming up.
We're in the home stretch on staining. We stained last night. Mr. Muscle was there. Somebody picked up whole timbers and carried them out to dry off. So we are working tonight at 5. We are at my house. It's in the bulletin from our secretary. We're working Wednesday at 9:00 a.m. for a few hours. And then Thursday, 5 o'clock, same thing. We still haven't got Paula there to supervise yet, so it's going good. I want to thank everybody. He didn't drop any paint when he was at our house, but so it's going well. Thank everybody. We can still use some more people because Pete's got a deadline and we're that close to it. So tonight, Wednesday morning, Thursday at 5. Friday at 5. Thank you.
Are there other Rotary related announcements? All right, seeing none. So today is a club meeting. The Rotary Board meets the third Tuesday of every month. So I like to take the opportunity at the club meeting to kind of go through what was on our agenda today. We had a long discussion about a lot of different topics. We'll have a couple of board members who will come up and specifically talk about some of those. A couple of things that I did want to mention is that we do have change of gavel coming up. Change of gavel is on June 29th at Cragen's from 5:30 to 8 p.m. There will be a social from 5:30 to 6:30, and then the program will be from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. I'm really pleased to report to Rotary that the board made a motion today to offer this meal for free. So we are encouraging everybody to come to Change a Gavel. That meal will be included. In addition, if the meal doesn't tempt you, you will also get 2 free drink tickets. So please mark your calendar, come to Cragen's. The other thing is Trevor did mention that one of the reasons that Cragen's was selected was because of Dutch too. You know, Dutch has been a member of this club for a very long time. And so it'd be great to get out there and support Dutch as well. Dave. That is a really great question. It is at the Legacy, correct? At the clubhouse. Thanks, Trevor. All right. We also had a discussion. Can I just see a show of hands in here? Could you raise your hand if you are a past president, please? All right. After July 1st, you will be hearing from me. Another thing that we talked about today at the board meeting was to try to convene a group of past presidents to do a couple of things. Bill Potvin did a wonderful job in his year of president of really putting together almost a job description for each one of the directors on the board. And so it would be nice to have kind of a place to make sure that we're keeping that, so that information can be transitioned to the next board, to the next president. So that information is already out there, but as Bill mentioned, that changes every year. The other thing is I would like to convene past presidents to talk about transition. So I know as I stepped in at the role of president, it was a crazy year. It was 2020. We had COVID. We were home. We were on Zoom. And so it was just a strange year. But I also think that it would have been really helpful to have kind of a transition packet or some kind of information of what expectations are of the incoming Rotary president. So I'm going to ask you, past presidents, after July 1st, if we could meet and have that discussion. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Then we had two really big topics I think we discussed. One, Jeff Burks, if you would come up and talk about peaches, and Jeff will give you an update on what the board decided in regards to our peach sale.
Yeah, so I heard from Judith, who is our the grower for our peaches last week, and she let us know that the prices are increasing because of all the costs going up for everything. And so the board has decided to absorb those costs in hopes that we sell more. So that's a good positive thing for us to go out there and just be mindful of selling more. So we're going to sell the single layers for 25 and the double layers for 40. So we did raise it a couple dollars on the single layers just to try to make up some, but so we're going to start doing this in July, and we'll go through the first part of August, and everything's going to be online this year. So we'll have to set it up online and just look for more information to come.
Thank you, Jeff. I know this is going to be probably almost impossible to see from here. We talked about putting this up as a PowerPoint, but at some point you will. Hopefully, maybe at a minimum, you can see all of the yellow that's on this sheet. Maybe not. Well, there's a lot of yellow on it. Be happy to share this with you too if you want. One of the things that we discussed, this is our board for 2021, 2022. And each director has roles that fall underneath their responsibility. And with a lot of key retirements or resignations from Rotary, Bob Musilevich, Dan Hegstead, Nick Vital, there was a lot of gaps that have been left in our upcoming year. And so one of the things that we talked about, and Trevor's going to come up and talk about this a little bit more. Did you plan that, or did you know I was? Am I queuing it up for you here, Trevor, enough? So one of the things that we talked about was kind of what Trevor is thinking that he's going to try to do for his year as president as a way to try to get people engaged. One of the things that Trevor said during the meeting, and I would agree, Rotary really became relevant to me when I started volunteering. When I started playing an active role in Rotary on the Brainerd Rotary Foundation, or the all of our fundraisers, the King's Feast and the raffle that we did, it became really relevant to me, and seeing and knowing where our money goes and really what our purpose is as Rotarians. So Trevor's going to come up and talk a little bit about what he plans to do in his year as president. And I just encourage you all to take an active role in Rotary. It really is meaningful. So Trevor.
Mike forgot to, what I was supposed to talk about. And going back to, Rotary, the first year I joined was the first year of Camp Confidence, Camp Journey. And so I was on that committee, and that's, and that's what got me actively engaged. I think Rick might have asked me to be the sergeant at arms my first year, right? And that was kind of a way to meet people. You had to memorize names. You had to get engaged. We used to have a fight over who hosted the dinner. People were discussing how Jack and Dutch and Brian would fight over who hosted the dinner for Rotary. Every member attended. Every member came dressed up in a suit and tie and, whatever, Sunday best. And we've kind of lost it a little bit. And so one thing I'm going to do is my first meeting, we're going to have kind of a fantasy draft. In beginning that fantasy draft, I'm going to place everybody's name on one of these spots. So all 90 members will be placed. Now you can choose to negotiate and move around and switch your spots, but everyone will have a committee. The second thing I'm going to do, or at least try to implement, is every other meeting will be a meeting to work on our service. Service above self. I'll make fun of Mike, or not Andy. Andy's our new foundation president. We have 11 foundation board members that spends the money, and about 50 spots that make the money open. And so we're going to try to close that gap a little bit and get people more engaged. And I think the more engaged we are, the more we'll enjoy Rotary. I think maybe doing every other meeting as we'll put youth and new generations on a table. Those people can go to that table and work on it. So we're not pulling so much time out of our personal lives. I feel guilty every time Mark comes up or Peter comes up and I'm not helping at that park, but I also can't get divorced. And so there's some structure to it of what you're kind of allowed and not allowed to do. And maybe making our meetings more of a work meeting every other time, I'm hoping kind of generates interest and gets us going. So that's what I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. I think those two topics really took up the majority of the discussion that we had at our board meeting. Engagement, I think, is certainly something that the board is concerned about, and really wanting to make sure that people are welcomed. People are encouraged to take an active role in Rotary. Otherwise, I think that's it for our board meeting. One of the things that, as you all know, after a year, my favorite part of Rotary is always our Sergeant at Arms. I always love hearing happy dollars and happy stories. So with that, I'm gonna ask Andy Rangan to come.
Nothing like being high expectations, right? Set up for that. Is John Forrest here today? I got to fill a bunch of time, so I was hoping he would be here today to get up here and give a happy dollar. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out to do it with about 10 more minutes then. So
Lots of space.
lots of space today. We have. I've been told that we're just grossly behind in paying for that meal for the change of gavel, so we need some happy dollars. So in light of all the yellow on here, I thought it would be fun if we find everyone who has not had or been involved on any of this in the past 5 years, having been in Rotary for over a year. So if you haven't been involved in one of the programs. What's that? Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there, Trevor. You want to do this? Because it's interrupting the Sergeant at Arms, I believe. Oh yeah, we'll get there. I can just keep finding. Trevor, how much money do you have in your pocket? All right. Couple of things. First of all, I don't think we've done May birthdays. So if you've had a May or June, so I don't think we did May, and I don't think we've done June. So if you've had a May or June birthday, please stand up. And John, maybe we can do a quick happy birthday to the Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday. it's kind of hard for me to believe that only 3 people in this room have had birthdays in the last 2 months. So consult the 4-way test and decide what your donation is going to be if you in fact forgot to stand up. All right. You've all probably, if you've been here, heard the saga of my robot lawnmower that's supposed to make my life easier. So it's back. It's working now. I had to get the battery replaced, and so far the squirrels have chewed through the wire 4 times, which makes the whole thing stop, and then you have to search your whole yard for where the break is in a little wire. It gets stuck pretty regularly on like flower beds and things like that. But otherwise, so far it's been going pretty well. But then again, we haven't had any rain. And so if you haven't had to mow your yard in the last week because of how dry it is, you can go ahead and donate $1. Okay? Buttons. If you do not have your button on, you can donate $1. All right, we're getting movement now on this, I see. That's good. I would say too, we're gonna have some time for happy dollars here. So even if you're marginally happy, I would get those ready. We're gonna go with happy dollars and marginally happy dollars. So John Forrest said something last week in his program that was related to Bitcoin and not wanting to understand it more. And I tell people that I understand cryptocurrency better than most people, but I don't understand it at all because it's still very confusing. And so one of the most confusing parts of this, and this is a trivia question here. So this trivia question will exempt you from the next fine that I'm about to levy, but does anyone know why, what the purpose of the mining is or how that process works? What are they solving? Anyone know? Yeah, they solve math problems. Right. So you get a reward of getting cryptocurrency for your computer solving math problems. That's why this makes no sense. Why would you get something for who? It's an arbitrary thing that gains them something that of value that is only valuable because other people agree and will trade you for it, and therefore that's how that works. So that was kind of one of the questions that John had posted, and it's still one of the most confusing parts of any cryptocurrency. On the subject of tech, Jeff Bezos is going to space. We talked about that last week. He just auctioned off the seat right next to him for $28 million for someone to ride along on the space flight. All this is leading up to the next fine. This is the most important one. If you paid more in taxes than Jeff Bezos did last year, you can afford to pay another $1. His effective tax rate was 1%. It paid 1% of taxes. So that all just came out and was kind of entertaining. So if you paid more in taxes than Bezos, who can auction that off for $28 million, that's it's another $1. All right, with that being said, like I said, we do have some time for happy dollars and marginally happy dollars. So if you want to come up, please do.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris from the Children's Museum, which is known as the Wonder Trek Children's Museum. Now we're coming up with branding this week, so that's super exciting. I want to start by saying I still don't carry cash ever. So when I walked into this building, I donated $5 through PayPal because where there's a will, there's a way. So what I am happy for, I am happy, one, that currently there are 55 museum programs booked this summer, all for free, all around the region, and I'm still actively looking for more. Two, that number makes me incredibly happy that yesterday I hired my first employee. Whew, it would be a lot otherwise. And three, I'm really glad that it's not 100 degrees. So there we go.
Hi, Hi, everyone. I'm Jody Drummond. I'm super happy today. Dennis had his left eye done, cataract surgery yesterday, and Dennis is pretty legally blind without his glasses, and today he can see perfectly well with his left eye, and he's getting his eye checked out at the doctor. So, praise God.
I have a marginal happy dollar. I was supposed to move in my house on Memorial Day, and I was supposed to move in my new house today, but I'm marginally happy because someday I'm going to move in.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bob Nystrom, and Jennifer did not recognize me as a guest, so I should introduce myself. I have an application in, but the application got lost. So I'm still technically not a member, but good to be here. So a little bit about myself. I was a former 38-year member of this club and lived in Brainerd all my life, and I currently serve on the Brainerd School Board. So that leads me into my next sort of happy find. Gitche Zibby, or the English translation, Great River Center for the Arts. The alcohol controversy has entered, and I need your help. Last night, we were asked to make an exception for Lakes Area Music Festival and any other nonprofit that might use that facility. And as you know, illegal substances and alcohol are not allowed on school property, and it's school property. Well, anyway, this brings in Jennifer again because she gets to, they have to get a temporary liquor license, which would allow it, because then the city would allow it, and then we'd have to change our bylaws. But the school board is uncertain they want to do that. It sends the wrong message to our kids. So I want to ask, and please do not feel that you are influenced by the people around you, because we tabled this. We're still going to discuss it, but all of you that would be in favor of allowing the serving of alcohol, Trevor, raise your hand. Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Who would not want alcohol served? Okay, thank you. It is still being discussed. And I'm happy to do this.
I don't have a topic anywhere near that serious. I'm retired, Rod. This is the first time I think I have ever attended a Rotary meeting in shorts. So I'm happy for that, number one. And let's see, I had another one too, but it doesn't really matter. I'll just donate $2.
Adam Reese, I wear a couple of different hats, ACI consulting, but one of the more interesting ones, of course, is as a musician for the Rocket Hill Band, which we are playing this weekend at Dunmyers again. But I got a happy dollar because of all the amazing music that's going on around here. If any of you saw, hopefully, in the Brainerd Dispatch, the full page ad for all the great classical music, and it's going to be at that new auditorium. So I want to just encourage people to support the arts. It's a big deal, and they need your support. And then the other happy dollar is with this huge heat wave, and I know a lot of people aren't happy about that. I'm happy because I like to swim, and I've never gotten into Pelican Lake so early in the season. So thanks.
David Winkleman with Winkleman Solar. I'm happy to say that our house now has a roof on it. So if you're driving by our new model solar home, has the structure to put the solar panels on it. And we're going to put about 18 kilowatts there, which is more than enough to power the whole home year round and give us money back. And my second thing, I'm happy about the sunshine. We're having 14 hours a day of useful sunshine lately. It's just dripping off all these roofs. You guys got to put some panels up there and catch it.
Don Peterson, and I'm going to talk about the mowing issue. In our household, my wife insists she drive her own John Deere to do the grass. So I don't have to do that. I do the snow throwing in the wintertime, And why does she like to do that? I think it's because she recently retired as being a licensed psychologist. And that's an occupation where you have a heck of a time seeing what you did, if you really accomplished anything or not. And of course, mowing, you can see exactly.
I love the spring and I love gardening, and I have a huge garden. I should say I have. Plants I put out early froze. Bang, gone. I went out early to water them to make sure they didn't die, and the hose was frozen, the water line was frozen, everything. It's froze. But the area is barren. And I got, my gosh, something happened to my soil. So I spent 2 days watering it. If you haven't noticed, it hasn't rained for a while. I'm like dust, powder. But after I watered it for 2 days, I have a good sign of hope. I went out this morning, I couldn't believe it. Green like you wouldn't believe. I have never seen so many weeds in my life.
Thank you, Jennifer Bergman, City Administrator, City of Brainerd. And I'm going to pay a happy dollar for Andy, our Sergeant at Arms, and really taking this time of your meeting for our Sergeant today. Thank you, Andy.
I did forget to have a very happy dollar of my own, which is the city opened Riverside Drive into Jackson Street by the Civic Center, and that is a huge improvement for those of us that live up there. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And with that, John, I'm going to give you a few minutes back of your day. And John, if you could lead us in Rotary. No, Andy. I better give away the money. Andy will do our drawing. Don't play your name.
Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, look at that. That's mine anyway.
And the winner is the Brainerd Rotary Foundation. John, if you will.
From north to south, from east to west, one province, most who serves the best. R-O-T, A-R-Y, that's the Rotary.
Have a great week.